The biceps are probably the most desired muscle to grow for everyone who starts going to the gym. It's not by coincidence that whenever someone who doesn't train thinks about the gym, they most likely automatically think about bicep curls. Especially since the arms provide such aesthetic value to your physique in general, a good set of biceps is somewhat of a mandatory desire. But of course, if it's the goal to maximize biceps development, there's more to it than just doing some simple curls. The biceps are composed out of multiple heads that need to be trained with the right exercises or movement patterns in order to get the most out of your workout. We have the long head of the biceps, which lies on the outside of the arm, the short head of the biceps, which lies on the inside of the arm, and besides the biceps we also have the brachialis, which lies on the side of the arm in between the triceps and the biceps. All of these muscles are responsible for elbow flexion. The long head and the short head of the biceps are also responsible for supination of the wrist, and the long head of the biceps is also partially responsible for shoulder flexion. Knowing these functions are crucial to your biceps development, since if they're not performed correctly, you're leaving a lot of potential biceps meat on the table. Now, I'm going to be covering a couple of topics in this video that will greatly increase the effectiveness of your workouts and ensure that you'll build some big biceps as a result of following these principles. First off is exercise selection. Now, as mentioned, you need to pay close attention to the biomechanical functions of all the bicep heads in order to get the most out of your development. Since elbow flexion is the main function of all heads, we're going to be starting off with a dumbbell curl. Dumbbell curls allow you to utilize both flexion and supination, ensuring that you're targeting all heads to its full potential. But, of course, not all curls were created equally, so here are some guidelines to ensure that you're performing this exercise correctly. Since we're going to be supinating throughout the exercise, keep your arms at your sides with your palms facing towards your body. This will be the starting point of your curl, which will ensure that you're fully stretching the biceps out. From the beginning position, bring the arms up to approximately 90 degrees, start supinating your wrist, which simply means you need to turn your pinky fingers into the direction of the ceiling once you reach 90 degrees, and from that point on, curl the weight up towards approximately shoulder height, keeping a good squeeze on the biceps at the top of the movement. Once you've brought the weight all the way up, from that point, lower the weight down under control while keeping your palms in supination, and turn your palms towards your body again at the bottom of the movement. By following these steps, you'll ensure that you're hitting all heads of the biceps to its full potential. The next exercise is the Bayesian cable curl. Since the long head of the biceps also aids in shoulder flexion, it's important to utilize this function as well to maximize the development of the biceps. The Bayesian cable curl, popularized by Manu Henselmans, is a solid way to utilize both elbow flexion and shoulder flexion all in the same movement. For this exercise, take a good step forward while facing away from the cable station. Lean forward just slightly to put the biceps in the most stretched position. Begin the exercise by curling the weight while keeping your arms stationary. Once you've reached approximately 90 degrees, move your shoulder forward just slightly to ensure that you're also utilizing shoulder flexion. Keep a good squeeze at the top of the movement and let the weight travel back under control in one smooth motion. Another exercise that you can also greatly perform these two movement patterns on is the incline dumbbell curl. Since you're putting your body at an angle in which your arms are automatically behind your body, which makes it so that you need to lift your arms up slightly as well, you will automatically perform some shoulder flexion and elbow flexion as well in order to complete the curl and stimulate all heads of the biceps. Now, as you might know from previous videos, there are no perfect exercises. As long as you're performing the correct movement patterns and making progress on your preferred exercise selection, you will see growth of the particular muscle. Right, the third exercise that I would like to cover is the hammer curl. Now, since the brachialis is the primary elbow flexor, you don't need to perform supination in order to target this muscle. You'll often notice that it's way easier to handle some heavier weight for this exercise, since it takes one of the movement patterns of the biceps out of the exercise, which is supination. So for this exercise, keep your palms faced towards your body, or also known as a neutral or hammer grip. Curl the weight up to approximately shoulder height while maintaining the neutral grip. Really focus on squeezing the brachialis muscle, since a lot of people might notice that they get more forearm activation rather than bicep activation if they don't focus on contracting the muscle that they want to stimulate. After getting a good squeeze on the brachialis, lower the weight under control until you're back at the beginning position of the exercise. Alright, so now that we know our exercise selection, let's move on to the second topic, which is volume. Now, since the arms are a small muscle in comparison to the bigger muscle groups such as the chest or back, it's quite common for people to really smash a lot of sets on their bicep work. And while it's true that smaller muscle groups can recover quite fast in comparison, it might not be a smart idea to perform too much volume. But then again, it's also not a smart idea to perform too little volume, which will diminish your potential gains. So how much volume should we go for? Now, going off of the volume landmarks popularized by Dr. Mike Israetel, you should be aiming to be at least MEV, which is minimum effective volume, and MAV, which is maximum adaptive volume. Now, the amount of sets will, of course, vary from person to person, but a general guideline would be to sit between at least 8 sets per week and 14 to 20 sets per week. But, like I said, this MAV will depend on multiple factors. Some people might do well with more than 20 sets per week and make progress just fine while still recovering enough, while some people might be at 14 sets and get crazy soreness and actually don't recover that well. So it's always most important to take these guidelines, try them out, and see if you're making progress and recovering well. So what about the reps? Now, as for all quote-unquote smaller muscle groups, it's safe to say that it's most likely not a very smart idea to perform sets with any lower than 8 reps. Since your form will most likely break down with heavy weights, it's probably not a smart idea to use a lot of body English if you want to maximize the development of the biceps and also prevent injury. So I'd say sitting anywhere between 8 to 15 reps for your biceps exercises will ensure that you're more than able to load some weight up, promote progressive overload on your exercise selection, and make the most amount of progression. Considering that you're applying a frequency of around 2 to 3 times per week, you can alternate between days of heavier weights in the 8 to 10 rep zone, moderate weights in the 10 to 12 rep zone, and lighter weights in the 12 to 15 rep zone. This will be a setup to ensure that you're hitting multiple rep zones and intensities. For 2 times per week, I'd advise you to pick a day with heavier weights in the 8 to 10 rep zone and moderate/lighter weights in the 10 to 15 rep zone. And as a last bonus tip, since a lot of people like to perform different exercises every workout, or at least switch them up like every couple of weeks, it's a smart idea to stick to your exercise selection for at least one training cycle before switching them out. What we are looking for, which is something that also goes for pretty much every other muscle group, is adaptation. We want to up the amount of volume on a consistent basis to ensure our biceps are adapting to higher volumes. And quite logically speaking, our biceps are best able to do that if we're sticking to the same exercise for a multitude of weeks. If we're switching it up constantly, there is less chance of adaptation to occur. Now, if you really want to switch your exercises up, feel free to do so after at least keeping the same ones in for one mesocycle, but make sure that once you know an exercise is treating your biceps well, stick to it and ride those gains out for as long as possible to get the most out of your bicep development and create some gigantic biceps. Alright, and that is all for this video, guys. I sincerely hope you all enjoyed. I hope this video shined a light on the insights and the principles that you need to apply to your bicep training in order to get the most out of your bicep development. If the video helped you out in any way, shape or form, then please consider hitting the like button because it truly helps out the channel grow. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Gino Brouwers for more informative and lifestyle content. Leave a comment down below on what you liked and what you would like to see next. Subscribe to the channel and turn post notifications on for so much more content coming really soon. I'm out, guys, and peace out. See you in the next one.